back to the stream wars, with everything going that I don't know if anybody remembers, but it was a couple years ago when it was after Disney had announced that they're making Disney Plus and they're going to be pulling all their content. Netflix went on this buying binge. I think they went into debt with Wall Street, pulling loans.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, because they were losing their catalog. Some of their big tentpole movies that they were going to have in their catalog. So they went on this buy binge to go, oh, we need to license this, we need to license this, we need to buy it out. And I forget how big they got. But that was a big one. And then it didn't play out like everybody thought it would. And Disney ended up going back through them and were like, oh, okay, we'll license you out some of the Marvel stuff for now because we're still
almost like a saving
fine-tuning
grace.
it.
Like, we'll lend you this so you can stay afloat.
Yeah, we won't back out on our contracts now. Look, guys, we're not doing. And they did this last year. I think it was August. We're not using this as a new distribution model. Just so you know. And it was like a month later. They're like, oh wait, yeah. We are using this as a new distribution model. Like, you gotta be kidding me.
What, with Mulan?
Yes,
Because,
Mulan.
well, they
was
probably saw what happened with Trolls.
Yeah.
And we're just like, you know what? They did it.
That's
so
what started it.
Why don't we just do it?
Yeah.
And Netflix does it anyways.
Yep.
But I think Trolls really, added that extra for them. Because Universal is a big studio just like Disney. Netflix is like a lot more brand new compared to them in the field. So.
Yeah. But you're right. So, yes, that all spawned with this whole vertical integration push again, even more so with Trolls World Tour. So yeah, Universal had this whole thing. They pulled from their distribution off of AMC. It was all of them, but
Regal,
yeah.
Right? AMC Regal?
No, I think it was AMC. Is it AMC Regal? I'll have to look that up.
Is it the same thing? Can't remember.
Yeah, I think they're two separate. But I could be completely wrong with that. Anyways, but they had distribution to distribute a tentpole film, Trolls World Tour, which is the second. This is a sequel with AMC, and then they pulled it because they were like, oh, nobody's going to the theaters, the pandemic, the shutdown. Yeah, I get it. That's all part of it. And in Universal's defense, they're like, oh, we have a toy distribution licensing that we need to get out there, otherwise we're going to lose a lot of revenue, because that's actually what George Lucas did to build his empire after Star Wars. Was he sold a lot of those rights to it, but he kept the the toy licenses for that?
The
merchandise rights. That's what I was saying. I'm saying toy.
We're gonna close off Facebook and just go directly to YouTube, and then we'll post that to Facebook after, because the mic here on this computer isn't coming in clearly.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
that seems like a better solution. So if you guys want to join us on YouTube, we'll be on YouTube Live for a little bit, still discussing the same topic. If not, you guys can wait till we release this video onto Facebook.
Yeah.
All right. Later, Facebook guys.
Bye, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. It's like, yeah, go ahead and end that there. Thank you. All right. So what was I saying? I forgot. Where did I leave off on? Trolls World Tour. Yes. Yeah. So after that, yeah, that's right. Universal had the merchandising thing. That's how George Lucas made his. A lot of his money was not from the films, but from the merchandising that he licensed out to many people. And that's really a thing. That is really a thing.
Well, merchandise brings in a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, that was a joke
Usually.
they were making in Spaceballs. It's like the only reason why Lucas blessed off Mel Brooks to do Spaceballs was under the caveat, like, no, you can't sell any merchandise to that because Lucas owned all the merchandise rights for it. And so they mock it like, oh, merchandising. This, Spaceballs, the lunchbox,
the
Spaceballs, the flamethrower.
And
the kids
my
love
favorite, what was it?
Spaceballs, the doll. Me. Yeah. So yeah, that was one reason why they did that is because Lucas decided to do that. Anyways, I know that's a whole digression from the discussion. However, that's what Universal was saying, the whole reason why they pulled out of the AMC deal, which again was probably just I see, that was the thing. I don't think it was already made. Like, the deal was already made.
For what?
because they're for AMC to showcase that, because these deals are made individually on a per film basis. Like block booking is not really a thing unless you're moving from that to.
It also depends what was in the contract
or aggregator. Excuse me. That's what I'm saying.
Whether it was exclusive or non-exclusive.
Yeah,
If it's Universal, then it was probably non-exclusive.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just that, not just non-exclusive for that, but usually, especially for tentpole films, if you're pulling out of a deal like that, there are stipulations in contracts that say, well, you're going to have to pay money for it. And they might have fronted the money. So it wasn't a legal issue. When AMC issued was it the CEO or the board, issued the letter saying, hey, we're not going to accept it. This is just bad business on Universal's part.
Bad taste.
It was, left a bad taste in our mouth. They didn't mention anything about litigation, about breaking contract. So anybody that was thinking that it was some sort of breaking contract I feel they're a little bit off kilter on the subject, because that was never a part of why they did that.
I think we have to give it to Universal because of the fact that they're not some small company. They're a pretty big company. They have pretty good lawyers. They have pretty good people in charge. So you would think that AMC and Universal would have communication about what's going to go on with that film, especially since the pandemic hit. It came out of nowhere, and they had no other option. They spent all this money on this film just to not recoup anything.
Absolutely.
Yes, it leaves a bad taste, but they're still trying to, live off what they create, right?
Absolutely.
It's still their product. They're not just gonna sit on it for a whole year just to release it.
Yep.
They're not getting anything.
How
would they pay their employees?
And animations take forever. They're much longer than doing a feature film, right? A live action, I should say, not a feature film, but a live action. The turnaround time is much longer. So.
Man, I'm just thinking I really would love to see what their contract said and read it and go through it.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. We haven't actually looked to see, but I'm pretty sure that's all.
I wonder if it's out.
No, I don't think so.
Out.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I
don't know. I find it interesting to go through contracts and kind of diagnose.
I let her do all that. Yeah. Anyway, so besides that, though, and how this kind of moves into why they did it, Disney decided look, they got through, and so we're gonna do that with Mulan, and they put it out on Disney Plus. They weren't doing any theatrical release, except in other countries, I believe, but here in the U.S. they weren't doing a theatrical release, and instead they were doing a paid VOD. On top of their, what was it? It was a paid VOD on top of their membership fees that they were already having it, so they could try to recoup how much they were going to make from that. So that's why it's from there. And then again, Disney came out going, "Yeah, guys, don't worry. This is not a new distribution model. It's just a one-off. Trust us. Just trust us." And it wasn't even like 2 months later. They're like, "Oh, by the way, we're flipping all of our focus from other parts of our production to focus purely on our streaming platform." Meaning, translation to that was, we're moving all of our tentpoles to Disney Plus. So, all this whole trust us guys was literally just smoke and mirrors to do that, because they were already making moves to do this. They already knew what they were doing, and it was just accelerated with all the incidents that happened during the pandemic and during the lockdown. So now they have an incentive for that to go, hey, let's shut down brick and mortar even further. Let's expand on this new media loophole, because Netflix hasn't gotten hit. Nobody's suing them. They're getting away for that. Now that we've got our own distribution model, and then what was it? Warner Brothers. That was the last one.
That's exactly what I was gonna bring up. Yeah. Is it Warner Brothers, right?
Warner Brothers, yeah. The whole 2021 slate of films is releasing on HBO Max, and they're doing something that they haven't done in, I think, like 10, 15 years, where they try to do same-day release on VOD as in the theaters. And I think I just saw numbers, trying to think. It was one of Warner Brothers. Yeah, it's one of Warner Brothers' first movies that they released, and it was an article, I think, in Hollywood Reporter, Hollywood Reporter or Deadline, and they were talking about like, oh look, it's so successful at like 14 mil.
Was like it Wonder Woman?
No. It was not, and it was like it's one of the best ones for same day release because Wonder Woman only purely released on HBO Max.
Oh, did it?
It didn't do a same day release as it did for whatever this movie was. I gotta look it up again. It's but yeah, it's really shady. Hey, thanks for checking out my video on here. If you like the content that I'm putting out, please be sure to like and subscribe down below and add a comment because I'd love to see what your guys' thoughts are on this sort of content and these topics that I'm putting out there. All right, until next time, stay golden.